Good evening and welcome. Tonight, let the stillness of winter guide you into a world of snow and shadows, where deep in a forest, a mysterious cabin holds the secrets of destiny. In this quiet tale, 3 travelers journey to the Winter Witch, seeking answers hidden in her enchanted brew. Close your eyes, let the soft whispers of the story embrace you and drift gently into a peaceful slumber. Let's begin. Deep within the winter forest, beyond any known paths, where only shadows and silence reside, there is a place where the snow seems whiter, untouched. Here, in the heart of the winter's darkness, a cabin stands cloaked in secrets. It is not just any cabin, and those who wander near it feel its ancient pull, like the breath of an old memory stirring just beyond the reach of thought. On nights when the moon is full and silver pours over the world, the Winter Witch comes alive. She is neither young nor old, neither fierce nor gentle, but a quiet force as inevitable as the winter itself. Her skin holds the color of frost. Her eyes gleam a cold blue that pierces through the dark, and her hands, delicate yet strong, move with purpose over a bubbling cauldron. The cauldron, old as the forest itself, stands in the center of her small room, its bronze belly simmering with midnight secrets. Tonight, her brew is nearly ready. She whispers words older than the stones beneath her cabin, and the cauldron seems to listen. The air thickens with magic, a potent smell like crushed herbs, melted silver, and the faintest scent of pine. The liquid inside is a deep, swirling blue, as endless as the night sky, reflecting the glow of her dim lantern. It is her midnight brew, a concoction that holds the visions of what is to come. For those who dare sip it, the veil of time thins, offering glimpses of futures unknown. Rumors of the witch's brew have traveled beyond the whispering trees, through villages huddled under snowy hills, to kingdoms lying far beyond her forest's edge. Stories drift like smoke to those willing to listen. They speak of a witch whose midnight potion can reveal one's fate, guiding the lost, the curious, and the brave to glimpses of destiny. Some who hear of her fear the cost, others, compelled by yearning or despair, heed the tales, drawn to her like moths to moonlight. And so, one by one, the travelers come. They stumble through snow-choked paths, faces red with cold, hearts filled with questions. Their eyes gleam with the light of fires yet unlit. Their breaths rise like ghosts in the frigid air. Each has heard the call of the Winter Witch, a faint whisper in their hearts that brings them here, through the wild and frozen forest, until they stand outside her door, eyes wide, breathless with expectation. Tonight, she has prepared 3 silver cups, each placed on her wooden table in quiet invitation. Her home is humble yet strange, filled with herbs tied in bundles, shadows cast by flickering light, and a silence that feels as old as the snow. The cups glimmer, ready to hold her midnight brew, and the witch stands beside them, watching, waiting, as the forest settles into an even deeper stillness. As the hours pass, the cabin's single window glows with the moon's pale light, casting strange shapes across the floor. The witch knows the time is close, feels it in her bones like a slow, rising song. Soon she hears the faint crunch of footsteps breaking through snow, a rhythm that grows louder until it reaches her threshold. A smile flickers at the corner of her mouth, a smile that holds the knowledge of countless winters and secrets lost in time. The travelers have arrived. The cabin door creaks open, and the warmth from within stretches out to meet the travelers, as if pulling them into a realm beyond the winter night. 3 figures cross the threshold, each moving slowly, uncertainly, their breaths rising like fog in the flickering light. As they step inside, the witch watches them in silence, her gaze heavy and knowing, her form blending with the shadows, as if she herself is part of the forest. The travelers do not speak at first, silenced by the strange weight of the place. The cabin is small, but to them it feels like an ancient hall of secrets, thick with the scent of pine and something more elusive, something hidden. Their eyes dart from the shadowed shelves lined with jars to the hanging bundles of herbs, dried and twisted, exuding a quiet potency. The witch gestures for them to sit at the small round table where 3 silver cups gleam, waiting. She moves with a graceful silence, pouring the midnight brew, its dark liquid swirling like a storm contained. The travelers watch as the potion spills into their cups, casting faint ripples of silvery light that dance across the room. They sense something in those depths, a shimmer of mystery, and perhaps a whisper of something both dangerous and irresistible. One by one, they lift their cups, hesitant yet compelled, each caught in the pull of their own desires. The first traveler, a warrior clad in the garb of distant lands, drinks deeply. His heart beats with the need for glory, for he dreams of battlefields and victory, of moments when the world will call his name. The taste of the brew floods him, a bitter sweetness that stirs an image in his mind. Himself standing on a distant hill, sword raised, his shadow stretching long over a landscape of blood-red light. He glimpses triumph, feels the thrill of victory surging through his veins. But as the vision sharpens, a shadow falls across his memory, leaving him haunted, as though his triumph might come at an unimaginable price. Beside him, the second traveller, a healer wrapped in simple robes, watches with wide, thoughtful eyes before lifting her own cup. She has come seeking knowledge, drawn by whispers of secrets that only the witch's brew could reveal. She sips, and at once, visions bloom before her like night flowers, pages turning, ancient symbols glowing in the dark, potions that heal and curses that break. In her mind's eye, she sees herself wielding this knowledge, her hands aglow with power that hums with life. But as the images fade, a sense of loss lingers in her heart, as though the knowledge she seeks might unravel something precious within her, leaving her changed, a stranger to herself. The last to drink is the wanderer, a man with a face weathered by years spent beneath open skies, his eyes carrying the weight of miles travelled and paths untaken. He has come to the witch in search of home, of a place to rest his weary soul. As he drinks, he sees himself standing on a quiet shore, the golden light of a setting sun casting long shadows over a small cottage nestled by the waves. The sight stirs something deep within him, a warmth, a sense of belonging he has longed for his entire life. Yet even as he clutches this vision, he feels it slipping from his grasp, as if the closer he gets, the farther it will drift, like a memory from a life that was never his. When the visions fade, silence fills the cabin, each traveller lost in their own thoughts, feeling both awed and unsettled. The witch watches them with a slight, knowing smile, as though she sees the shape of their futures forming in the smoke that rises from their cups. Outside, the wind howls, a mournful song weaving through the trees, and the travellers feel the cold seep back into their bones, a reminder of the world beyond. They have each seen a glimpse of what lies ahead, and yet they know that the path before them remains shadowed, mysterious, their visions half-formed and blurred like reflections on dark water. As they rise to leave, the witch offers no words, only a slight nod, as if acknowledging that they too are now part of her secrets. And as they step back into the snowy night, each traveller feels a new weight pressing upon them, a knowledge that, though faint, has already begun to shape their lives in ways they cannot yet understand. The forest greets the travellers with a quiet cold, sharper and more biting than before, as if it too has heard the whispers of their visions. Each step away from the witch's cabin feels like pulling against some invisible thread, binding them back to the shadows they've glimpsed. In silence, they journey together for a while, the moon casting their elongated shadows over the snow. But eventually, the weight of their thoughts parts them, drawing each onto their separate paths. Days pass, yet the visions linger, flaring up unexpectedly. A glimpse of a sword raised, a shimmer of glowing symbols, the warmth of a distant shore. But the deeper they delve into these shadows, the more they feel something strange, something missing, as though a part of them has begun to unravel, a delicate stitch pulled loose by an unseen hand. The warrior is the first to notice. As he journeys towards a distant battlefield where the banner of his kingdom flies, he searches his memory for a song, one he used to sing with his brothers at the campfire. But the tune escapes him, slipping like mist through his grasp. He cannot recall their faces, nor the warmth of the fireside laughter. Instead, his mind clings to that vision of triumph, of himself victorious, standing tall against a blood-red sky. The memory grows brighter, more vivid, but at the cost of the faces he once loved. He senses the price of his vision, a chill settling in his chest, and yet he cannot abandon it, bound to its allure like a moth to flame. Meanwhile, the healer travels to a distant village where an ancient library awaits her, a sanctuary of knowledge hidden within a mountain's shadow. She combs through its dusty tomes and ancient scrolls, each page revealing secrets she once only dreamed of knowing. But as she immerses herself, a gnawing emptiness settles within her. She realizes with a pang that she cannot recall the face of her mother or the warmth of her childhood home. The memories feel distant, faded, as if seen through frosted glass. In her mind, they have been replaced by the glow of the symbols, the enchantment of spells that whisper promises of power. She tries to clutch onto fragments of the past, but each time she draws closer to the knowledge she craves. She feels pieces of her heart slipping away, replaced by the cold comfort of wisdom. The wanderer, meanwhile, finds himself drifting through village after village, following the elusive feeling of the home he saw in his vision. His dreams pull him forward, filling him with the warmth of that distant shore, the golden light of the setting sun. Yet, as he roams, he finds himself forgetting the names of people he once knew. A friend's laugh, a lover's smile, all of it blurs, fades, leaving only the vision of the cottage by the sea, a mirage that grows more vibrant with every step. It fills his heart, even as it leaves it hollow, and he begins to wonder if the dream he chases is more real than the life he leaves behind. The days turn to weeks, and each traveller feels the weight of their choices growing heavier, a quiet gnawing in their hearts as they realize the extent of their loss. They have gained a glimpse of their futures, but in exchange, their pasts lie in tatters, memories reduced to faint shadows. They press on, driven by the relentless pull of their visions, even as the cost haunts them in stolen memories, a hollow ache that echoes through their souls. One cold night, as snow begins to fall like whispered confessions, the three travellers find themselves alone under the moon's pale light, each lost in the solitude of their journey. In their hearts, a single question stirs, a yearning to reclaim what was lost, to find a way to fill the emptiness that grows within. And so, guided by a pull deeper than desire, they turn their eyes once more toward the forest, the place where their journey began, a place that holds the witch's hidden cabin like a secret waiting to be unlocked. The witch had shown them visions of what might be, but now each traveller longs to reclaim the fragments of what once was. The snow crunches underfoot as they make their way back, guided by a need greater than curiosity, greater even than destiny. They sense that the witch may be the only one who holds the answer to the price they've paid, the only one who knows the path back to themselves. And so, They walk once more into the shadows, their breaths rising like ghostly plumes in the night air. As they return to the Winter Witch, each traveller carrying the weight of a story unravelled, seeking not just the future, but the parts of themselves they've left behind. The snow falls in a hushed cascade, blanketing the forest in a stillness so deep it feels eternal. The three travellers, each from their own path, converge once more at the edge of the Winter Witch's domain. The air here is different, charged with a subtle weight, as though the forest itself is holding its breath. Shadows weave through the moonlight, dancing like spectres across the trees, and the travellers hesitate, their hearts heavy with unspoken fears. The witch's cabin appears before them, half hidden in the snowdrifts, its windows glowing faintly with the same inviting warmth that had once drawn them in. But now, that light seems sharper, colder, as if it has taken on the edge of the frost itself. The travellers exchange wary glances, each seeing their own doubt mirrored in the other's eyes. Yet, the pull of their longing is stronger than fear, and they step forward, their footsteps muffled by the thick snow. The door creaks open before they can knock, and there stands the witch, silhouetted against the glow of her cauldron. Her eyes, icy and ancient, sweep over them, and a knowing smile curves her lips. She steps aside, her silence an invitation, and they enter once more into the strange, shadowed world of her home. The cabin feels smaller than they remember, as though the weight of their regrets has crowded the space. The 3 silver cups still sit on the table, now empty, their polished surfaces catching the flicker of the witch's lantern. The travellers remain standing, their gazes fixed on the witch as she takes her place by the cauldron, her hands moving with quiet purpose as she stirs its midnight depths. "You have returned," she says at last, her voice like the rustle of leaves beneath the snow. It is not a question, but a statement, as though she has been expecting them all along. "We have," the warrior says, his voice steady but his eyes shadowed. "The visions you gave us, they've taken something from us. We've lost pieces of ourselves." The healer steps forward, her hands trembling as she clutches the edge of the table. "I can't remember my mother's face. The more I learned, the more I lost. It's as though my memories were the price for your brew." "And my home," the wanderer whispers. "I saw it so clearly, but now I can't recall the people I've left behind. I've forgotten so much." The witch listens, her expression unreadable, her hands never pausing in their rhythmic stirring. The travellers' voices hang in the air like frost, their pain as palpable as the cold seeping through the cracks in the cabin walls. At last, the witch speaks. "What you saw in your visions were not merely glimpses of what could be. They were the threads of destiny pulling you toward what you were meant to find. But destiny is not without cost. To hold the future, one must let go of the past. Then why show us at all? The warrior demands, his voice rising. Why tempt us with these visions if they would tear us apart? The witch looks at him, her gaze as piercing as the winter wind. Because the path to destiny is one of choice. What you have lost is not gone forever. But reclaiming it will require courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to face what lies ahead. The visions were a guide, not a promise. The healer's voice breaks the silence that follows. Is there a way to restore what we've lost? To remember what has been taken? The witch's lips curve into the faintest smile, though it holds no warmth. There is a spell, an ancient rite that can bind the past to the present, healing the fractures you feel. But it is not I who can perform it. It is you. You must fulfill the journeys your visions foretold, walk the paths they laid before you. Only when you embrace the truths of those futures can you reclaim the pieces of yourselves you have lost. The travelers exchange glances, their doubt replaced by a heavy resolve. They have seen the shadows of their destinies, felt their pull like the tug of a distant tide. Now, the witch's words have given them clarity. To move forward, they must confront the echoes of the visions that haunt them. The warrior steps forward first. Then we will face it. Whatever lies ahead, we will find the futures you showed us. And in doing so, perhaps we'll find ourselves again. The witch nods, her gaze softening just slightly. Go then, follow the threads of your fates. The forest knows your paths, and the snow will guide you. With that, she waves a hand, and the cabin door creaks open once more. The cold night greets them, its icy breath wrapping around their forms as they step outside. The forest seems brighter now, the moonlight casting silver pathways through the trees. Each traveler takes a different direction, their silhouettes disappearing into the vast expanse of snow, each carrying the weight of their loss and the flickering hope of redemption. Behind them, the witch watches, her expression inscrutable. As the door swings shut, the shadows in the cabin seem to sigh, as if the forest itself has just exhaled. The witch turns back to her cauldron, her stirring slow and deliberate, the brew within glowing faintly, waiting for the next traveler to seek its secrets. The forest swallowed them whole, each traveler wandering their separate path into the icy expanse. The snow whispered beneath their feet, a sound too soft to disturb the vast stillness. The moon, high and pale, watched like an indifferent sentinel as they followed the threads of their visions, each step taking them closer to the truths they had glimpsed in the witch's brew. The warrior was the first to face his destiny. His journey led him to the battlefield he had seen in his vision, a frozen wasteland where banners hung limp in the still air. He stood among his comrades, their faces blurred like forgotten names on stone tablets, and felt the weight of his blade in his hand. The enemy approached, their ranks a tide of shadows against the pale horizon. When the battle began, It was chaos, raw and unyielding. The warrior fought with the fire of his vision burning in his chest, the taste of triumph lingering like smoke on his tongue. He climbed the hill where his victory had been foretold, his sword slick with the blood of those who had fallen. And there he raised his weapon, feeling the swell of glory as it surged through him. But as he stood victorious, a scream cut through the air, a scream he recognized. He turned and saw a familiar figure among the fallen, a face he had loved but could no longer name. The cost of his triumph struck him like a blade to the heart, and he fell to his knees. In that moment, he understood. His vision had shown him only a sliver of truth. Triumph without memory was hollow, a victory as cold as the frost beneath his feet. As the snow began to fall again, blanketing the battlefield, he laid his sword down and whispered a vow. To fight not for glory, but for the faces he had forgotten. And as he did, a warmth flickered in his heart, a faint spark of memory returning, a name, a voice, a firelit song. The healer travelled to the heart of the mountain, where the library of ancient wisdom awaited. She read by the light of enchanted lanterns, her fingers tracing the edges of vellum pages older than any she had ever seen. Each page revealed more, secrets of life, death, and the fragile thread between. She learned the names of plants that grew only under starlight, the chants that could mend a broken soul. But the deeper she delved, the heavier her heart became. For each discovery, she felt another thread of her past slip away, dissolving like frost on her fingertips. When she found the final tome, the one she had seen glowing in her vision, she hesitated. To open it would mean to know everything, but to lose the last shreds of the life she had lived before. Her hands trembled as she turned the cover, but what she found inside was not the knowledge she expected. Instead, she saw the faces of her mother, her family, her childhood. The pages were mirrors, reflecting all she had forgotten. And as she wept, she realized the wisdom she sought had always been within her, carried in the love and lessons of her past. With this understanding, the symbols of the book glowed brighter, their light filling the chamber and her heart. She left the library not with tomes, but with the memories she had thought lost. A healer not only of bodies, but of her own soul. The wanderer walked until his legs ached, until the snow felt as though it would swallow him whole. The vision of the shore guided him, a flickering beacon against the cold. He found it at last, a small cottage nestled by the sea, its windows aglow with golden light. Inside he could see the life he had longed for. A fire in the hearth, a table laden with simple meals, and laughter that filled the air. But when he stepped closer, he saw his own reflection in the frosted glass, a face weary from years of searching, its edges sharp with loneliness. The cottage was not his to enter, not yet. He stood there, breathing in the salt air, feeling the ache of longing in his chest. And then, from the doorway, a figure stepped out. A woman, her smile warm and her hand extended. She spoke not a word, but her presence was enough. She had waited for him, through snow and storm, through silence and solitude. The home he sought was not a place, but the people who would fill it. As he took her hand, the warmth of her touch unraveled the final threads of his sorrow. The vision faded, replaced by a reality far richer than he had dared to dream. When the three travelers returned to the forest, the witch's cabin was gone. The clearing where it had stood was empty, its secrets carried away by the snow. But in their hearts they felt a quiet peace, as though the witch's magic had woven itself into their lives. The warrior, the healer, and the wanderer walked away from the forest, their memories restored, their futures bright with promise. And as the snow fell softly behind them, the forest exhaled its last secret, its shadows fading into the light of a new dawn.